Hi, right-wing agitators, all aboard the bandwagon. And we're back to an old favourite, aren't we? Let's all pile on Jess Phillips. Like, the conversation always misses a lot of nuance, but it always gets a lot of loud voices saying not very much. Like, this national inquiry was never ever going to be easy. You're talking about thousands of vulnerable young girls who have grown up into vulnerable young women who invariably are being exploited by a media class that just want the headlines. Patrick Christie's, with zero experience of working with traumatised women, seems to think that Jess Phillips, who has spent her entire career working with traumatised survivors, is out of her depth. See, I guess my difficulty here are the Lee Andersons of this world that don't actually work with survivors, unlike Jess Phillips, who spent her career, yada yada. But they do jump into this drama when they think there's a point to be gained on their political scoring card. And they all get really uncomfortable seeing a working class woman getting really pissed off with the people that jump on that bandwagon. It's all to do with confirmation bias, isn't it? They like to exploit the fact that she gets a little bit rough around the edges because we don't do that in our parliament. Whereas I think, gosh, it must be really hard for her to be schooled by people that don't understand the complexities of these issues. But you see, they undermine their own argument when suddenly they lump the rape gang inquiry into "and Labour are failing." Because the only thing they should be saying, if they truly believe that inquiry is failing, is what are we going to do to help the survivors? And yet the people that speak out against Jess Phillips seem to have a really bizarre moral compass of their own, don't they? Here's Lawrence with his "I love Donald Trump" hat on. That'll be the Donald Trump that has closed down his government because they don't want them to open and sign in the new Democrat senator who is going to sign the paper that says release the Epstein files. Like, Loza is fine with that. But Jess Phillips, she's scary apparently. And the gall of the Tories to stand up and say that this national inquiry isn't happening quick enough when they never instigated a national inquiry, nor did they actually implement any of the measures from the last child sex abuse inquiry. And when I see Katie Lamb speaking out about it, I'm struck by the fact that she's clearly on a little bit of a leadership campaign at the moment, trying to take on Robert Jenrick as to who can say the most abhorrent thing. Like, I think Jess Phillips is quite scary because I think she's going to make sure that this inquiry happens and happens properly. And part of that will be the difficult job of navigating the needs and the requests of all the different survivors that they're talking to. And whilst I guess we should all be alarmed that some of the survivors have felt that they haven't been listened to, we don't know, actually, how many survivors are involved in this process. So 4 leave-ins sounds terrible, but not so terrible if 96 have stayed. These women have been let down by every institution, from the judges to the police to their teachers. Everybody has let them down. There is no good person to head up this inquiry because every institution has let them down. However, as we saw with Lou Casey's report, there are really good people trying to get to the truth of this and trying to give these survivors finally some accountability. So I don't see Jess Phillips as a liability. I see her as somebody completely invested in this and who's desperate to get it right. And I think it was quite canny of the Home Secretary to give her statement to GB News today. Because let's face it, GB News are the ones that keep telling everybody that this inquiry isn't going to happen. As you were.